Continue with the program. MTS, they are engaging in a crisis and emergency response training ahead of the hurricane season. And the head of corporate communications, Adrian Raymond, is here to tell us all about it. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. Now, it's already an active season.
That's right.
What are your thoughts and what led to this particular response training?
Well, I think that one of the things is that MTS is a huge state agency. We're nearly 6,000 staff members located in almost 1,000 facilities, mainly government and state facilities across Trinidad and Tobago. So, and part of the strategic plan that is being implemented, that was the vision of the board and the leadership team led by our CEO, Lennox Ratan Singh, and our chairman, Jackie Lazarus, is the fact that there's a level, that force almost, there is an ability as well to be of service to our clients in ways that haven't been done before. So that, therefore, one of the things that we're looking towards is shifting the idea or the paradigm shift, so to speak, of us being mainly about maintenance and security also to facility management. Right. And a key part of that is being proactive. And while it is that and because we're located in so many locations and facilities, etc., we have to be prepared because our clients are very much dependent on us and the public is also dependent on us. So that is kind of the area that we're looking at, because you would realize that already for this season we're on Tropical Storm Chris. And you would also realize that unfortunately just even a heavy Sunday afternoon shower can cause an inordinate amount of flooding within particular areas. And while it is that our team may not necessarily be the first responders, we're the earliest responders. And in the case of any sort of natural or even man-made emergency, the first civilians going into any government facility are our maintenance workers to do that particular cleanup. In addition to that, even facilities that are normally used for other things, say for example schools, become emergency shelters as well. And the persons that are there 24/7, MTS security, they're the ones who are opening the facility for members of the public. They're the ones in the case of an emergency or something not holding up, moving people who are staying there to another location, etc. They're also the ones who at the end of any sort of crisis are going to do the assessment of the facility and say, look, this is the particular situation. And so therefore we need everyone to sort of be mentally and physically prepared for that. And so it's being rolled out to about maybe 2,000 of our staff members over the course of about 6 weeks to 2 months. And we also tend to use the July-August vacation as well to do that reassessment analysis so that we're ready for the new school term as well.
Now, you all are normally always engaged in training.
Right.
How is this training different?
Well, I think the training is different in the sense that you are now dealing with a particular focus that says there's going to be a changing dynamic that takes place. Number one, in terms of understanding how members of the public are going to respond. It's a heightened, more stressful sort of situation. So there are protocols that take place pre the particular event, there are protocols that take place during, and then of course there are protocols that take place afterwards in terms of being able to, so that they are able to respond in a way, not just in terms of doing the assessment, but also dealing with a public that is going to have a heightened sense of anxiety. So you can imagine parents having to pick up their children because there's something that is pending and you have to get to the grocery and you have to get the water, etc., and that kind of thing. The fact people who are in a particular shelter and therefore are worried and scared, wondering about their homes, etc., because their homes may be in a flood-prone area or their home structure is not as secure, which is why they choose to come to the shelter for their safety. And then, of course, post-emergency, dealing with the fact that situations are not ideal. You know, just even getting to school becomes difficult. But one of the rules that we have as well in terms of identifying mission-critical facilities is making sure that post any sort of emergency or any sort of event, that we're able to get those facilities or assist in getting those facilities back up and running in an environment that is clean, safe, and secure. So I think that our CEO and myself will, and all members of the team actually were very proud of the fact that post the flooding that took place in Port of Spain a couple of weeks ago, or not this weekend, former weekend, that our team was able to go in there on the Monday, worked late, got everything cleaned up, so by Tuesday morning, members of the public could again receive those services, and members of the public service could go in and do their jobs. Yeah. So that first was important.
Now, what are the various training areas?
Well, one of the first things that we're looking at is mission critical training, which is basically also identifying particular things in facilities. Now, every facility is slightly different.
Right.
And one of the things that I often point out is that for members of the public who are visiting a particular facility, they may or may not understand who is working there because we're wearing regular clothes, etc. But they definitely recognize a maintenance worker because they have on a uniform. They definitely recognize security. So one of the things is that's one of the first people that they look to in terms of where do I go?
Yes.
Because you're in a panic. So the thing is, especially if you're not familiar with the particular facility. So I think that is number one. Number two, you want to also engage with whatever safety officer is there, meaning every organization, because of OSHA, is supposed to identify and have a person who is their safety champion, a drill for each floor, each particular department. You want to basically understand that as well to make sure. The other things that you want to make sure as well in terms of that all the emergency exits and so forth are clear, etc. And that's something that yes, different organizations may have their own particular protocols, but we're there to assist and make sure that that particular thing happens as well. The other thing that is interesting to know as well is that because we are engaged but disengaged, and what I mean by that is we're not necessarily involved in the day-to-day operations of the organization.
Right.
We are there to do a specific task. But because of that, instinctively, we are able to see particular trends and particular rhythms within an organization. Yes. So obviously the elevators are heavily used during lunchtime, or there's a particular point in time when cash is closing, what those particular protocols are. So, and those are instinctive to our employees, etc. So because of that, there's a very valuable contribution that they can make. Because a maintenance worker knows this particular door is sticking or this particular faucet is not, there are things that are known instinctively because they're dealing with that day to day, and that's their focus.
Okay. And how many companies and facilities? I think you said over 1,000.
They're close to 1,000. If you think of all the schools, all the government facilities, the thing is that one of the things that I say about MTS is that we are a quiet giant. So when it is you're not hearing from us, it means that we're doing our job well. And the thing is that we're there, but we're not there. You notice it, but you notice us, but you don't notice us. But if you think about it, if you have a son, so I often say that maybe about 700,000 people in Trinidad and Tobago are either directly or indirectly affected by the work that we do. So that you go into magistrate's court, there's security there, there are our maintenance, there's our maintenance team there. You drop your son and your daughter off to school, there is a security officer at the gate, and there are maintenance workers that are responsible for the cleaning of the school, etc., and that kind of thing. So that we definitely are on the pulse of everything that is happening within Trinidad and Tobago. Sometimes there's a particular incident that happens and I hear about it even before it happens in the news, whether good or bad. Yes. And there's a particular level of discipline that exists, particularly among our security officers, that they deal specifically with facts, so that you know you're getting the right sort of information all the time. So because of that, you understand why we really need to kind of be very proactive going into this particular rainy season. We had a heavy rainy season last year. We saw what happened just up a couple of islands up. Yes. And while it is that we believe that we're not in the hurricane belt, we're now realizing that there's information that is coming out that says we're just on the southern tip, so we still can be affected, and we need to be proactive and we need to prepare. Yeah.
Now, you would have mentioned that this training will take place during a 6-week to 2-month period. Yeah. What are some of the facilitators?
Well, right now we're working with a team. Jim and Sheila, and then there's one of our key staff members, Peter New. He actually is a coordinator with ODPM as well. Okay. So that is a particular rollout and stuff like that we're doing, and and a lot of times as well, a lot of it is in-house because you are talking about. MTS is not just a job for many people. MTS is a career. Yeah. So I've been there a year and a half, and I'm a baby in the organization because you're talking about people who have a minimum level of experience of almost 20 years, etc. So they've been through quite a bit. So a lot of times it is the senior officers and senior people who also as well who've gone on their training themselves who formulate these particular plans and get them done. And as I say, it's something that is ongoing. In addition, our safety officer, or head of safety, Peter New, has an amazing array of experience and stuff that is instinctive to him. And he's been with the organization, I'd say, almost 30 years and worked with other various agencies. He knows his stuff. I actually was in a session with him a couple of weeks ago dealing with the communication aspect of it and development of the soft skills, particularly within a heightened stressful situation and how you deal with that. And he was coordinating that to a lot of our supervisors, who in turn are supposed to, not supposed to, but will pass that on to their staff.
Yes.
But in order to make sure that they're doing it well, we also have a training called Coaching for Results, which is an ongoing coaching and mentoring program for supervisors, because the decision to go for excellence is a daily decision you make consciously every day. And you need, and a lot of your ability to do that is very much dependent on your boss or your immediate supervisor and how they treat and deal with you, what sort of pep talk they give you, how they pull you up, how they manage you as well. So those are things that are ongoing. I mean, one of our key strategic initiatives is institutional strengthening. And one of our key resources is the human capital that we have at MTS. We're close to 6,000. So the training is something that is constantly ongoing. Our human resource department is always at work. They're always pushing, they're always looking at new material, they're always looking at the latest techniques, etc. And in order to be fiscally responsible, we may send one or two, make sure they've done that train the trainer program, and they come down and they impart that knowledge as well in a way that is practical for us as well.
It's very reassuring. What are your closing comments? What would you like to say to those looking on and listening?
Well, I think that one of the things I want to do is that I want to really commend the team at MTS. I'm relatively new to the organization, but it's been an amazing 18 months thus far. And it's the first time that one of the few times I've been to an organization and realized that there definitely is an opportunity for a career. And when you see what people may have entered as and what they're now at in terms of the improvement and the movement up. Beyond that, in terms of Trinidad and Tobago, I think we all need to as well be proactive and prepare. There are many organizations, not just MTS, that are leading the way, but there's nothing to negate or as valuable as your own self-preparation. Have your water, have your candles, have your kerosene lamps, have all the other things that you need to have in preparation. Don't wait until it's coming and then you're rushing to the grocery, etc. Just generally always be prepared.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
To chat with us, of course, we've been chatting with the head of corporate communications at MTS, Adrian Raymond, talking to us about the MTS Emergency Training, a very, very intense program taking place during the period 6 weeks to about 2 months. So we definitely look forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So here are the details of the day's market activity on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange.
Trading